and welcome to the Wayseer Show. I am Shireen Thor alongside Mr. Garrett John Laporto, and today we're going to talk about something that Gandhi reintroduced, and hopefully we will again reintroduce it in a sexier fashion. All right, Garrett, let's talk about it.
We got to bring sexy back.
So, Garrett, why don't you kick us off and tell us what exactly is Soul Force?
Yeah, so Gandhi, the essence of his peaceful resistance, of his revolution, was this force he described called soul force or love force. And what he meant was that there is some essence that is alive with us that we can tap into, that can really transform our relationships and the people around us. So when they would face hostile crowds, military, police, and whatnot, their soul force, when they tap into the soul force, it would change the hearts and minds of their enemies and turn their enemies into friends. Martin Luther King was so inspired by it that he used the term soul force at least once in his speeches. And it is this crazy essence that's beyond us. It is a thing we can tap into that is very much part of us, but is also a bigger part of us that reaches into the hearts and minds of everyone around us. And this soul force, this love force, this life force is what we've been talking about all this time. When you experience frisson and awe, it's because you're opening to that. You're opening to this bigger essence that is us. As you open to the soul force, you realize that you are so inexorably connected to everyone around you, that you are the same, that you are one. And that oneness, that connectedness, that pure devotion and pure love for all sentient beings and all life that comes through you helps you recognize that you are not the little you that is stuck in a body, but you are this greater consciousness that is peering through your eyes, your ears, your brain. Like all of that is just one portal into this bigger you that is everyone, that you are part of. And so that is the essence.
That's really interesting. So tell me, as far as like bringing that to a place of like relationships and healing, you know, where we can really, I don't know, apply it or feel it or access it or whatever.
Yeah.
Where does that fit, or how does it help?
To be a contributing member of a relationship, you're going to be giving a lot of love. You're going to be giving your soul, your love, your life, your attention to others. But then you run dry if you're giving your small, limited attention to them. But there is this infinite attention that we can gain through soul force, through life force, that we are part of this life force that's infinite, that is right there for us. And when we tap into that, we become these infinite reservoirs of love in our relationships, and we're able to give all of the needy people around us the love that they need to feel a little bit better, to start opening up to giving their love. And this essence is the key to going from a very limited ability to love to moving into great love, where you are unlimited in the love you can give others.
So do you feel like if people, let's say the world on a grander scale, you know, if they did make it more of a practice to access this and sort of be a vessel for this type of love, do you believe that there would be less divorce?
You are the greatest observer this planet has come up with so far. And you're
human, right? That's
human.
What you mean.
Yeah. Okay. You as a human, but you are an iteration of it. So your power of observation, what you witness for, and this is what soul force is largely based on, forgiveness is largely based on, is what you witness for, whether you witness for the divine in another human being or you witness for the crap in another human being.
Right.
Your intention, your observation will actually create that outcome.
I see.
So that's why soul force is so powerful, because they're not just, soul force isn't just like, hey, I'm enlightened, fuck y'all. It's like, it is like, hey, I see the goodness in you, and by my witnessing the goodness in you, even though you're my enemy, it strengthens that goodness in you and actually creates this pull towards the goodness in you being stronger, and it evokes that goodness in you. And that is why peaceful resistance was able to transform militarized police. You have police with Doberman Shepherds and fire hoses and machine guns, and they could easily mow down everybody who's part of the resistance.
Right.
But the thing that the people who were part of the resistance recognize is if they start throwing stones and Molotov cocktails and trying to fight, the police have no problem just shooting them all down. Like, fuck them. They're trying to hurt us. We're going to, so the soul force goes out the window. But as soon as this vulnerable people rises up with soul force, what they're doing is not just being strong and courageous in and of themselves by being so vulnerable, but if they're doing it right, they are seeing the goodness in these scared military police officers whose job it is to stop this demonstration from happening. And their hearts and minds of those police are being changed by that soul force, that connection, that witnessing. And that divine witnessing that the revolutionaries, will call them, that are doing is the same thing you could do in your most intimate relationships. When you witness for the divine in your partner, that strengthens their ability to be what to be the great self that they could be, that you fell in love with originally.
Yeah.
And when you witness to their shithead, like, they're going to feel that judgment. They're going to feel that expectation that they're going to be a shithead, and that shuts them down and lowers their love light. And they are going to be more of a shithead because now their love level is down. So it's like, by increasing your love level, you are also increasing the love level of those around you. And
now
that's the hyper intelligence.
Makes some fucking sense. Like, that I can take and apply, and that's important to me, personally. Fucking Wayseers or not, you know what I mean? Like when we're just talking about stuff, I'm like, stuff, where does it go? Like, I can't put it in my brain anywhere. Whereas like when we're talking about soul force in the way of like passive resistance, and it not just being, okay, just be passive, but also see the love in them and therefore magnify it, and then therefore penetrate and make it this whole new big thing. And my brain kept going to what's happening with all the police who are killing black little boys. Yeah. Like, I really thought, like, man, maybe this is like the spiritual approach to solve that issue, because like that is a painfully tragic situation that's happening in our world that I can't even stand to think about, because I don't see a solution, like, I'm just like, this is so horrible. I can't even, like, every time I look at, oh, it happened again. They shot him in the back. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even believe we live in a world where this is happening. But I feel like this soul force situation you're bringing to our attention, reintroducing, like, Viva la Gandhi, is, just giving me a little hope, I think. A little like, okay, that could work.
It's exactly what needs to stop. We either are devolving, which is what we're doing right now, which is somebody did something wrong, and the other side, so we have the guys wearing blue, and they've got their guns and their badges and their crowd control tactics, and they're scared because they're going into areas where they know they're hated, and they're also, some of them are assholes, some of them are good people. Like, there's a whole spectrum. I have a neighbor who's a cop, and he's a great guy. But I also know that, like, if I got him really pissed off some night and threatened, he'd probably try to kick the shit out of me. I don't think he'd shoot me. I hope not. But, we can get into a fight real easy if I don't see the goodness in him and he doesn't see the goodness in me. That's what happens in every relationship. You're either devolving, where I see you as slightly worse than you really are, and then you feel that and you respond to that in a way that amplifies that, and you see me as slightly worse than I really am, and it just keeps going tick, 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 and we just go down and down and down till we absolutely have dehumanized each other and hate each other, which is where we're at with the police situation. Is you have both sides have dehumanized the other side, feel completely threatened by the other side, expect no grace or love or human compassion from the other side, and that creates this self-fulfilling prophecy. The same is true with soul force. Like if you can find a way to love the other side, you can see the love in someone's eyes when they really love you. You can feel it. Like when someone like really sees the best in you, you feel it. Every great teacher is doing just that. They're just witnessing the best in those that they're teaching. And there's even been studies that show if you introduce a kid as a troublemaker into a classroom, the exact same kid as a genius in the classroom, like the outcome will be completely different. Like the teacher's expectation, whether that kid's a troublemaker or a genius, will completely self-fulfill. Any 7, 8-year-old kid will either become the troublemaker or the genius of the classroom just based on what the teacher expects.
Because they're the observer.
They're the observer.
Shit.
So in your relationships in life, whether you're in a, whether your relationship is like with the popo, are you going to be like, hating on them and fighting them and them hating on you and fighting you? Well, you're the observer. So if you observe like what they're doing as malicious and underhanded and aggressive and wrong, like when you're looking for that from them, that's what you're going to see. Like even when they didn't mean it, like little accents, little missteps, little things that are just open to interpretation will be interpreted as the worst possible thing. And then when you choose to observe the best in someone, like start with your partner, when you observe the best in them, when they say something and you're like, the best thing you can do with a long-term relationship, a partner, a child, whatever, they say or do something that you immediately assume is like bad, like, or their thing again or whatever, throw it out. Act like it didn't happen. Find a way to reinterpret it as like, if they were a divine being, if they were like God incarnate, if they were an angel, whatever you want to call it, if they were completely enlightened and they said or did that, how could I reinterpret that as actually like a gift, as actually like a good thing? Like how can I see what they're doing as divine? And that divine witnessing opens the doorway for them that strengthens it in them. It strengthens it in you. And it's, do you want war or peace? Like that's the question. And every moment, every interaction is, are you looking for war or looking for peace? And this is Einstein said like you can't achieve peace by preparing for war. And I think that's again the bottom of this is like soul force, love force, forgiveness is choosing peace, choosing love. And that means you have to not be preparing for war. And preparing for war is, how is this person trying to fuck me over? How is this person a bad person? How can I minimize the pain this person could cause me if they don't love me?
I'm literally like concocting trainings for the like police force around the world. I'm like, this is perfect, Garrett. This is what we need to do.
Yeah. In fact, one of the things that started all my work around like the love, bringing more love into the world, like that we need to channel. How do we get more, like, the Frisian, the thing we talk about, like downloading love from some higher place, was witnessing Guatemalan police who had to deal with these glue-sniffing street urchin children, 4 and 5 years old. They're already addicted to glue sniffing because their lives suck so bad. They're abandoned. They're orphans. They sit along the street just sniffing glue. And there's so many of them that the police would come in with their batons just beating them away like rats. And it was in that moment I go, there's not enough love to go around in the world. Because I could see those police were overwhelmed. Like any one of those police, if there was just one child and it was just one police officer, they probably see the innocence in that child, try to take him in, help him. But there's hundreds of these kids. There's too many. And the police are overwhelmed and they're just like, and it's just not enough love. There just isn't enough love to go around, and we need to become conduits of this love. And the way we do that is through these self-transcendent experiences where you're tuning into your soul force, tuning into your love force, becoming a channel of this love force. And the way you do that is through essentially prayer. It is going into that Frisian state, going into self-transcendent state, opening to this transcendent love that is ultimately life force that's trying to get in. And I think that's why I keep going into the science, because the truth is that love is this intelligent force that, when released into the world, goes on and on creating in its own image.
Yeah.
By you being a conduit for love, you bring some more love into this world. It transubstantiates something in your environment, whether it's another person or something you create, and that creation or the way you've affected someone in your relationship goes on, and that love is like this intelligent agent that got a little more room to operate, got a little more room to create, and goes through every iteration creating more and more love. So that creation you made reaches people and opens them to a greater love, and there's this magic happening, and there's this intelligence pouring in through that creation of yours, or that person that you expressed loving kindness to then turns and expresses that loving kindness to 1 or 3 other people, and those people go and express that loving kindness. It's not, they don't do it out of obligation, they do it because the love has infused them, has gotten into them, and is self-replicating. It is, it is creating more of itself. You could save consciousness 20,000 years of suffering.
Exactly. Fuck. There you go. Are you kidding me? That's relevant and
Yeah.
important. No big deal.
Yeah. But that's the cascading effect of bringing love into the world and being open to this soul force, this life intelligence, is that you have the choice of being that conduit, and by being that conduit, you create all of these chain reactions that can equate to tens of thousands of years of less suffering.
And do you feel like what's offered inside the Wayseer Academy supports people in accessing soul force?
Yeah, we have this thing, we're calling it the Frisian Lab. I know it's pronounced Frison, but I don't like the sound of that. I'm calling it the Frisian Lab. You could also call it Tingles, like the Tingles Lab, or the Shivers Lab, or the Chills. I don't like the sound of chills and shivers because that evokes like coldness to me, and my experience of it has always been great warmth. When I'm experiencing this transcendent love, this soul force, this life force, this love force, when I'm experiencing it as this warm cascading of love, it feels like there's another presence in the room with me, or if I'm outside, like this other presence, there's greater presence, and it does give you goosebumps and tingles. But what we're talking about is that there's this greater you, this greater life, this greater soul that is right there accessible to you. And as soon as you start becoming aware of it, you get those tingles, you get this, and it might start off as shivers, but the better thing is once you become friends with it, it's this love, this warm love that comes to you, and it's always there for you. It's just, are you open to it? And that's what the work we're doing in Wayseer Academy is, to help you develop not just the habit of doing that, but the depth of doing it. Like, you can go really far. There's been a number of studies about Frisian and how it works. And in the studies, they often mention Frisian only lasts a few seconds. Like, you're listening to a great piece of music and it only lasts a few seconds. But my experience has been, after decades of cultivating this enlightened feeling, the soul force, is that you can make it last a lot longer. That it starts off, it's just a few seconds, but the more you get into it, the more it lasts, and it builds, and it goes from just like a little bit of tingles to like your whole body feels like it's resonating or vibrating, and and then there's a point where you actually can feel like you've left your body, like that your consciousness has moved to some greater plane. And all of that is kind of through this agent of love force, soul force, self-transcendence. It all mean the same thing. And Frisian is just kind of the physical feeling that tells you you're on course with that. That's keep going that way, and you're gonna find the bigger you. You're gonna find enlightenment. That's the direction of enlightenment.
Right.
Hey, if you like this show, become part of the movement. There's a whole new world waiting for you at wayseers.org. Join our live hangouts, get exclusive access to our Frisian Lab, our mind-blowing recordings and videos, our books, our psychoactive sound programs, our in-depth materials, and our Wayseer life hacks. All are geared to help you come alive, turn on to your greater power, tune into your higher intelligence, and answer your highest calling. This makes life amazing. You could even be a guest on our show, help create our next video, get executive producer credit, or arrange a meeting with me personally. Join the party at wayseers.org, WAYSEERS.org.